Bez dime najdve.
Jo, hiç se kom bez dime. Ščipa odlično.
I to desno. Не го носам това.
Не го носим, да се скачаш. А можеш ти да си нещо, какво трябва да смениш нещо? Ще презентиме, презентацията век е това, така? Презентиме вече, ще вече не са.
It says bundle in the name. Meta bundle.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Bartel Yashari. I'm from Skopje, Macedonia. I'm the director of Metamorphosis Foundation. Let me briefly introduce what Metamorphosis does and what is our mission. Metamorphosis is an independent foundation based in Skopje. We were founded in 2004. Our mission is to contribute to the development of democracy and increase the quality of life through innovative use and sharing of knowledge. We do a various type of project where we promote the usage of new technologies in order to improve different aspects of our everyday life. That's why a very important aspect is the empowerment of citizens. And why we think that empowerment of citizens is very important is that very often a lot of international organizations, but also NGOs and the government speak about citizen participation and how citizens should participate in the decision-making process. But from the very start, the position of the government and state institution is not equal with the position of citizens. First of all, because the governments do have all the information, they have all the data, and they are giving those information to the citizens as they see fit. On the other hand, the citizens are always using the tools and the mechanisms that are available in order to participate in this debate, but very often they depend on the services and the mechanisms that the government do put in place in order to enable citizens to participate. With our project, as I said, we promote ICT tools as the most appropriate and the most efficient way of strengthening democracy and opening the institutions to citizens in order for citizens to be more actively involved in the decision making. We define this in our program as good governance, and a very important part of this good governance is citizen participation. And in order for citizens to participate, institution must be held accountable and be transparent. Unfortunately, in Macedonia, we are facing another challenge, except that the resistance that institutions have in using new technology. This other challenge is the usage of different languages. Since Macedonia is a multicultural country with different ethnic groups. So this is the last census, and according to the last census, the official figures are like this: 65% of the citizens are Macedonians, 25% Albanians, around 4% are Turks, so we have Serbs, Roma, and other, like Bosniaks and Vlachs. Which is also important to emphasize as a challenge that we are facing when developing projects for citizen participation and holding governments at all levels, central and local level, accountable, is also that most of the political parties are organized along ethnic lines. So there is no political party in Macedonia which bring together Macedonians and Albanians and also other ethnic groups, or the number is very symbolic and not something that we not considerable. On local level, we have 85 municipalities, and all the most of the municipalities have websites. 73% of municipalities have website. The websites are 66% in Macedonian, 14% in Albanian, and you can see the representation of the other languages around 7%. Most of the municipalities sees that it's more important to have an English version than to have, let's say, a Turkish or Albanian version. On central level, all the ministries do have a website, and they use mostly this website to present the activities of the ministries and especially the ministers, so for PR purposes. Some of them are also providing some services, but most of the websites are only in Macedonian. So 46% of the websites are in Macedonian, and 21% do have also an Albanian version. 30% of them do have also an English version. The efforts of the government at central level to promote citizen participation and try to include citizens in the public debate is provided by this portal, which was developed by the Ministry of Information Society and Administration. It's a portal for public debate called e-Democracy, and unfortunately this portal is also available only in Macedonian. So an important fact that we try to emphasize in all projects that are done by the government, and when we analyze them, when we monitor their projects and activities, but also the tools that they are providing, is that we try to make some pressure on the government to provide tools that are inclusive. Inclusive meaning not only in terms of language, and as we saw, most of the websites are only in Macedonian, but also they should try to make available those tools and services to different levels of the population, marginalized group of all kinds, and also to make those tools to be accessible also for people that with handicap. And then we can discuss about information society which is inclusive and which enables all citizens equally to participate in the public debate. Having a tool like the e-Democracy platform that was developed by the government, which is only in Macedonian, is just serving as an alibi of the government that, yes, we want the citizens to participate, but citizens do not know or do not know how to use this tool. Another very important aspect of what Metamorphosis do is that we try to raise the capacities of the NGOs, and with the NGOs also to the citizens, in order for them to be able to use all those tools. And we also want to make them aware about the challenges they are facing when using new technologies. Because I suppose in the region it's the same, but in Macedonia most of the citizens do not want to use different ICT tools to participate because they are afraid about their privacy and security. That's why we do a lot of activities and projects where we inform citizens about the challenges, but also about different tools that are available that can be used in order for them to securely surf the internet and participate in the public debate using the tools provided by the government while staying anonymous. We are aware that anonymity on the net is almost impossible, but at least we think that by providing those tools, they will be encouraged to participate more. This is another website which is also only in Macedonian. It's a national electronic registry of all the regulations in Macedonia, all laws. This is a very important database, let's call it simply a database, because in order for citizens, but especially NGOs, activists, in order to participate, they must be very much informed about the existing regulations. They must be informed about the existing institutional and legal framework in order to really be coherent and efficient in lobbying and advocating. So having this database available only in Macedonian discriminate an important part of the population in Macedonia, and therefore this is weakening democracy, and which is more important, it is weakening trust on the institutions. Another challenge working in a multi-cultural environment is the role of the media, which we at Metamorphosis see as a very important tool for building social cohesion, but in Macedonia it serves quite the opposite. The media in Macedonia, Macedonian media and Albanian media especially, are informing about different issues, and they are targeting only their part of the population without having in mind the background, the culture of the other group. And sometimes media are putting oil on the fire more than informing the citizens, and that's why we also, as a foundation, we thought it is important to develop two tools in order to be more objective in informing the citizens about what is happening in Macedonia. First, we created an online informative portal called portal.mk, then a Macedonian one called Ping, which is also an aggregator of the Macedonian blogosphere. And with the support of USAID, we are creating a media fact-checking service. And we have a group of people who are analyzing what the media are broadcasting, what they are publishing, and also they are analyzing what they do in terms of usage of professional standards, ethics, and reliability of the sources that they are using. So what we do, because we can control and we can only what we do, and with what we do we want to provide a good example also for the state institutions at national and local level, is that all the tools that Metamorphosis is developing are at least bilingual, Macedonian and Albanian. Sometimes we are even using English language, and for some projects where we even develop our resources and educational materials in 6 languages that are spoken in Macedonia. And by providing a good example, we think that step by step we will at least affect the way the government at central level, but also at the municipality level, are building their tools to engage citizens. Sometimes we say that Google Translate can also help if we want to reduce costs, but the Google translation, as you know, is really not of good quality. And we use the media that we created, which are in Albanian and Macedonian, to promote all our activities, and also to promote inclusion as the main principle when developing tools for citizen participation. And what is also very important is that we try to not to convince the government, but really to make sure that the government, when they are developing tools for citizen participation, they are really putting the citizens in the center of this project, and not technology and not the government, but really the needs of the citizens. And it should be a citizen-centric information society, and not the other way around. So, as I said at the very beginning, for us it is very important to put in this dialogue between the citizens and the government, to put them on equal terms. In order for the citizens to be equal in this public debate with the government, in order for the citizens to be able to really be efficient in this and influence public policies, they must be informed. In order to do so, the government must be open, so they must really try to use new technology in order to present the data that they are holding, and then give an opportunity to NGOs, but also private firms, to use those data in order to empower citizens. And another project that we are doing is open data, and we are now just starting, but we hope that it will be an important incentive for both the government and NGOs to try to bring closer the citizens to the government institutions. So this is basically it, and if you have questions or maybe ideas, please feel free to ask.
Could you please tell more about this open data project, what it actually
is? So we are just now starting. It's part of the Open Government Partnership. It's a global initiative which is initiated by the World Bank and the World Bank, together with the NGOs, is trying to make the governments on central level to make certain data sets available to to the NGOs in order for them to use them more, to give. So this is it. And for the time being, it's at the very early phase. We had a conference last year, and we are trying to make the government give data sets that are relevant and usable and that could bring a benefit to the NGOs, because they can give us any data set which will be useless for us to use, and that's now the main fight we're having.
Okay, another question about public debates, and people want to be anonymous. How they can participate in debate and stay anonymous? I mean, you should probably tell your own name, your point of view, and stuff like that. So, why they want to be anonymous, and is it really works if they stay like under nickname, for example, Supermax or something like that?
Yes, I understand. The problem is that in Macedonia, and I suppose in the region as well, there is a culture of secrecy, but now with the very conservative and not very democratic governments which are in place, people are afraid to participate. And sometimes, even they do want to participate, they are afraid because they can have repercussions and implication in their daily life. They can lose their job, etc. And as the first obstacle, we said that they don't know how to use those tools. So, but we overcome these obstacles with trainings, etc. But we saw that still citizens are not participating. And yes, we know that we do not have a culture of participation in Macedonia. It's more like let's not talk about things that are not in my domain. It's something for politicians. And then we did an evaluation, and we saw that most of the people do not use those tools because they are afraid, and if they could stay anonymous, they would do that. And I'm not saying that this is the best solution, but at least we want to have this check to say that anonymity or privacy is no more an issue that we have to deal with. So if still the citizens continue not to participate, then we know it's something else. Or I agree, the ideal solution and the ideal environment would be where we will have NGOs and citizens freely participate in the public debate without hiding their identity and really saying what they think about, I don't know, any regulations. I think there was another question?
Yeah, I just had a question about like the legal status of besides Macedonian of languages. So it's like, if I grew up in an Albanian majority area, am I going as a child, am I going to school in Albanian? If I want to deal with my local government, do I have to do so in Macedonian, or how does that work?
In local government where there is a population of a specific ethnic community more than 20%, then the language of this ethnic community is also an official language. And
but not in the state level.
No, not on state level.
Yeah,
but in several, in Skopje, I think that in some municipality the Albanian language is official. And yes, in Skopje, yes, it is. In Grad Skopje is also Albanian, is an official language, yes. And as for education, you can pursue your education in Albanian all the way to university.
But is Macedonian mandatory for minorities, or are Macedonian kids learning Albanian? I mean, how it works?
Macedonians do not have to learn Albanian.
Do they have that option if they want?
I think they do have, yes. They
And
do have. If they want, they can learn Albanian as a second language. But for Albanians, learning Macedonian is mandatory.
Mandatory.
So is there like a common language that people use? I mean, particularly online, if there's some discourse between, are they communicating?
That's the problem. That's the main problem. As I said, we do not have a very strong commitment by the government to include citizens to participate. Otherwise, they would have developed websites in both languages. They would have developed this e-democracy portal, which is really for public debate in both languages. So we do not have a commitment from the politicians, and they do not see the participation of the citizens as a very important issue. That's why they develop it in one language. And then not only that, as I said, even the media are the way they are informing about different issues, and sometimes for the same issues they are informing differently. So language is a very important problem. Although most of the Albanians do speak Macedonian, it also became like a political issue more than a practical issue. And then this is used by politicians as an alibi that, okay, yes, we have provided those tools, but citizens do not want to participate, and then that's it. And sometimes they also use NGOs as an alibi. They are creating and establishing NGOs which are close to the government, and then they call them in public debates, and then in front of international organization, the EU, etc., they are saying that yes, we consulted the NGOs. Although this is only formally, and sometimes even when they are asking us to participate, they are doing it, so they are calling us today for tomorrow, and they are giving a strategy of 20 pages to read, and then for us to be ready to discuss tomorrow, which is almost impossible. So the point is that new technology, website and different Web 2.0 tools are really providing a very good opportunity for the government, but also for citizens to participate. But what is lacking in Macedonia and in the region is the political will really to include citizens in public policy making, and consulting them and really having in mind their needs in order to create policies that fit the need of the citizens, and not vice versa, to create policies and also develop e-government services that would enable the governments to collect more money from the citizens, which is the case in Macedonia. Do you have any other question?
Well, if not, we'll continue with the next presentation.
Thank you.
Advantage to speak, to be the last speaker, because it happens usually that in the end people are less interested to make questions. So.
Question.
I'm Mladen Muraco. I work for Folha Movement, which is a political movement, not a political party, but political movement, because we think that politics should not belong only to political parties, but also it should belong to the people and other civil society NGOs. And our work is mostly related to anti-corruption policies, and we usually publish different reports and papers regarding the level of corruption of public institutions. But also we do organize different petitions, demonstrations, different performances regarding the level of corruption in public institutions, but also against organized crime and informal economy. My presentation will be divided in two parts. The first one has to do with international missions and the impossibility of people of Kosovo to monitor these international missions. And the second part will be with our work and how we have used some of the ICT tools to keep public officials more accountable and transparent towards the institution, but also towards the people, random people. I was quite inspired by George Orwell's book, 1984, where there is the big brother which controls everything, And so are also international missions which watch over everything what happens and what occurs in Kosovo. And that's why I have title International Missions Are Watching Us. Hmm? Okay, just a short historical background. As far as we know, people of Kosovo never ruled their country because it was historically ruled by others. Without letting myself too much in history, it was first ruled by Ottoman Empire until 1912, and then it was under the Serbian, Croatian and Slovenian Kingdom, and after the Second World War was under ex-Yugoslavia, and since 1999 it was under the international community, and it still continues so fiercely to be led or to be governed by the international missions deployed in Kosovo during the war and after the war period. Let me also, when we speak about international community, international community is not a kind of homogeneous organic totality. They are neither international nor community, because to be international means to have the universality, and the missions that are deployed in Kosovo do not represent such universality. And usually there are different nations, different cultures, different political systems within those international missions, and which makes not them community. So Kosovo is a singular case in the world history with so many international missions, which is very hard and almost impossible to find in other countries. We have KFOR, UNMIK, ICO, EOLEX. And so it's not us who monitor them, but it's rather the contrary. So the simple answer is that the civil society had this kind of impasse, the kind of impossibility to monitor international missions here in Kosovo, even KFOR or UNMIK, and UNMIK was one of the most corrupted international missions with so much and so many pervasive practices performed by public officials. And the reasons or the causes why we cannot monitor these international missions is quite clear, because these international missions are characterized by their undemocratic being or character. First, they are not elected by the people they come from, and the second, they are not legitimized by the local people in Kosovo. So this is the reason why they are not accountable or transparent towards the local people. All what we have done related to the corruption of internationals are some reports which have depicted some of the most pervasive practices performed by high international public officials. And here are, for example, 25 charges of corruption against international staff under EOLEX judges. We have also one international, Johansson, convicted on corruption charges. We have another one, Roger Reynolds, charged but remain, international fugitives, and usually the justice system led them. And again, we have District Court of Pela, 2 cases at pre-trial stage, 1 case involving 18 internationals, and one is a local citizen, but the indictment not yet confirmed, all related to UNMIK officials. And we have another one international officer on corruption charges. Also in September 2010, we had Ukrainian 4 soldiers indicted by EOLEX on suspicion of smuggling. We had also Romanian gendarmeries accused by EULEX for smuggling, but they were repatriated for domestic investigations. But until now, they haven't been sued or judged for their. We had also in 2009, EULEX House suspended its investigation into the conduct of 11 international and 8 local employees of Red Unicidre system. Also in 2008, trial of 6 former UNMIC international officials and 1 local citizen suspecting of misusing 230,000 euros. And also alleged diversion of funds around 65.2 million euros, and relating to major contracts of the major public-owned enterprise in Kosovo is Kosovo Electricity Enterprise, and also airport. And this was during the period 1999 and 2008. And there was another international involved in corruption cases, and also its allegiance with local politicians, especially Stephen Shook loved so much for Kosovo's sake. And one of the most greatest crime after the war period was the dialing code, or postal code, which was not allowed to from internationals, and some French officials lobbied to have the postal code of Monaco. And according to Professor Ismet Hamidi, former employee of the International Telecom Union, and PDK declares that this contract the largest economic crime after the war. Also, former PDK director Agredida claims to have been removed from this post after refusing to sign the contract with Monaco Telecom. It was Bernard Kouchner, the main administrator of UNMIC at that time, who pushed forward this idea that Kosovo needs to have. So all these pervasive practices didn't allow UNMIC officials, EULEX and KFOR to be transparent and accountable towards the people of Kosovo, but also, and it's very interesting when if you do a research and you ask, for example, EULEX prosecutors, and you say how many judges work here in Kosovo, prosecutors, their response is that this is a political question and we cannot offer you the response. Or if you ask them how many charges were raised by EULEX prosecutors, they again say that this is a political question and that's why we cannot give you more information on that. So the conclusion is that international missions have failed to be transparent and accountable to the people, and they have witnessed anything but being transparent and accountable. And this is due to that these international missions, it's not that they only advise Kosovo institutions, and it's not that just monitor and mentor them, but it's also that they have executive rights over the public institutions. So it's an illusion to expect that we can monitor them till taking into account that they have executive rights not only over the people of Kosovo but also over the public institutions. And people's expectations were very high after the war, but we expected so much and nothing happened. It's like in the works of Dino Buzzati, where characters just wait and nothing happens. It's almost the similar situation. So this is for the international missions, and I would like just to how we use it. I need to go very quick. would like to speak more about not the truthometer, which we do publish as also MIAFT movement does, but I will speak more about the platform which we have built based on voluntary work, and which it took about 1 month, and it has to do with disclosure of assets made by public officials. And so here we have, for example, 10 richest MPs. We have here the list of public officials. For example, if we want to take Adem Grabovci, a public official, is the first one built, which has to do with this kind of disclosure of assets made by. So here is his own property, and so you may choose, for example, the category if you want to know more, how property, how assets, how shares he has, how cash and so on. Just talk then, maybe it's much easier to understand. So here are the 10 richest public officials. Shibejat Patsole is Deputy Prime Minister.
Oh,
Ramiz Kennedy,
very good.
yeah,
Yeah.
in Kosovo. They soon will be in Forbes, in the magazine.
And do you refer to official data, right?
It's just official data.
Yeah, and it's very funny because to be a representative of people, it doesn't mean that just to be elected from that, but it means also to be a representative of social and economic status. So I find it very funny when I hear them that they are representatives of people while they are millionaires, and you got 45% of people poor and also unemployed. But you have, for example, MPs, if you want MPs. They were also. And you got, for each year, for example, if you want to see in 2010, in 2011, for each year you may find and compare the property or the assets owned by public. You have ministers, government. You got also mayors, the richest. And this was done all based on voluntary.
So this is all voluntarily provided data?
Yes.
There's no legal construction for asset declaration?
But public officials are forced or are legally obliged to report to the anti-corruption agency. And we usually go to the anti-corruption agency and take the forms and applications that they have filled in, and then we take and analyze the data, and then we put the data into
It's like in Albania,
The
you can add
server.
something. There is an agency that all the politicians are obliged to make the declaration of their wealth. So like buildings, cash, and such other stuff. Then that people who would like to take this information that is not classified, in fact, should apply or make a request of this agency, and they can provide with the official declaration of their wealth. So everything I think is official.
Yeah,
it's from them.
The Anti-Corruption Agency publishes for each year, usually in March, all the forms filled by the public officials, and then we take those forms and applications, and we take the categories put by the Anti-Corruption Agency, and we put into the platform or into the software. The internet is not working out.
So is there some sort of enforcement mechanism that they can penalty for non-disclosure? Like is there an agency in charge of that? Is it the anti-corruption agency? Is it general
Usually public officials are not so reluctant in disclosing their assets, and usually over 90% of them declare their assets. So we don't have this kind of problem, but now we are trying to verify the statement filled by